Eskamani.
Senator Eskamani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members, for the really strong, robust debate. To some degree, there's not much else I can say when it comes to concerns with this bill. And I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth noting that I know it's Democrats in the back rows that are expressing concern, but the feedback that I've received in my office doesn't just come from left-leaning organizations. If and when there's a new president, they could label new organizations to fall into the category of a foreign terrorist organization or a domestic terrorist organization if they chose to do so. And that can impact any organization. The biggest concern with this bill in the context of this designation system is there's no neutrality. It equips the cabinet, which is a political body, to make a political decision, not a decision necessarily based on merit, not a decision based on safety, but a political decision. And then you have 30 days once that notice is already published. So now you have been noticed as a domestic terrorist organization, and then you have to try to appeal. Once the label's there, the label sticks, members. And this is something that, of course, as an Iranian American, I've grown up being accused of all sorts of things. It's because of where my parents immigrated from. And I will tell you that the term, unfortunately, the term of especially domestic terrorist has been thrown around in such careless ways. And of course, the most recent examples that Rep. Rayner spoke about are two protesters in Minneapolis and I'm sure more across the country that were accused by our government as being domestic terrorists with no proof, no evidence, but done in a way to dismiss their murders at the hand of the state, at the hands of ICE, and to essentially whitewash what took place and try to paint them as the bad guys. That's the reality that we're living in when we are just taking in media based on algorithms that feed our assumptions. We're not having exposure to different viewpoints, and this bill feeds into this problem to criminalize dissent and to also create an environment where the state gets to pick what speech they prefer over what speech they dislike. And I wish we had more time for questions, because there were many questions that I had, including if a student argues as part of a course that a military campaign, that a particular insurgency that's designated as a DTO is justified and shouldn't provoke U.S. response, is that, quote, promotion? If a student praises the historical actions of a group, is that known as promotion? If they play devil's advocate in class, is that now going to be them promoting a potential terrorist organization? If they compare military tactics of different organizations, is that them promoting terrorism? If they attend a protest to watch it, but they're not participating, is that now a promotion of terrorism? So there's so many First Amendment concerns in this bill, members, and regardless of your position on groups you like or dislike, I hope we all agree to the power and the importance and the foundation of the First Amendment. So vote no on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.